Hey guys, I'm finally in my classroom. School's gonna start in just a few days. It's so exciting. And I got a package. It's large, it's big, it's my books. And I'm so excited to show you because this is what I'm probably the most proud of. It took me a few years to make, but just to give you a little context, we have a class set of textbooks in our school. However, they're really old. We don't really have the budget right now to buy new ones. That's not really a priority for us. And I found when I assigned my students textbooks reading, well, number one, they couldn't bring them back and forth from school. They were just too heavy. They have too much stuff in their bag. So I couldn't assign them that reading and expect them to be able to look at it in the classroom. And then I also noticed I would assign textbook reading, and I'd end up spending so much time reviewing what they had already read that I realized it's not really worth it. I also discovered too that my students really don't know how to take notes. They are good at getting the what, the names and the dates and that sort of thing, but they don't really get the why and the significance. They don't think in terms of cause and effect. And so I thought, how can I incorporate textbook readings, smaller ones, in chunks that we can really dig into so I can teach them how to read a textbook? How can I train them in taking notes, taking lecture notes? Now, I know there is a Facebook group I'm a part of, and somebody asked, how do you teach your class? And it seemed like there was this huge parting of the Red Sea when it came to lectures. Some people think it's an absolute sin. I never lecture. It's a horrible thing to do pedagogically. Other people are very lecture heavy. I am very lecture heavy, and the reason for that is because when our students get to college, they're going to have to sit through lectures. They need to know how to listen to somebody talk about something and take accurate notes, what to listen for. So I think that we actually do them a disservice when we avoid lecture at all costs. Now, does that mean I stand up there like Ben Stein and give, the dry eyes, clear eyes kind of thing? No, not at all. In fact, it's very engaging and it's more discussion built. So all of that to say, I have designed a curriculum that is lecture/readings, and I've put it all in one place for my students in this book. This is for my on-level class. I'll make that distinction. My dual credit college class, they actually have to take it as a college course, so they don't really get any extra help. But my on-level class, this book starts with a full course schedule. It has every term that would be bolded in a textbook. It has the major themes. And the reason I do this is I tell them this at the beginning of the year. I'm like, this is your study guide. Don't ask me for a study guide. In fact, in college, you really won't get one. You'll get a syllabus. This is your study guide. You have it. If you know these things, you're good. And then I'll show you in a second. I'll put it up close. But when they actually get to a set of lecture notes, it starts with, the title of the lecture. There's the terms written out and the major questions, the major themes, and it gives them plenty of space to actually take notes. So if this is truly their study guide, they can come back here and use this as a review sheet. And then it goes into the guided reading, or not the guided reading, the guided notes. And what you'll notice about this is not fill in the blank at all. Instead, it's things like, what do we know about Thomas Jefferson? Who is Sally Hemings? This is my very first day of class when we go over the Thomas Jefferson scandal. Really fun. Why was this person significant? What did they do? Why were they significant? How did that lead to this? And when I do that, what I'm trying to do is get students not just to write down the who, what, when, where, or the who and the what. Like they're going to do that part. But I'm trying to encourage them to think through, okay, why? So when I ask them, why did that lead to this? Or what was the significance of this? It trains their ears for the S word, as we call it in my class, significance, the so what factor. And so I'm actually teaching them how to take notes. Now, by the end of the year, there's a whole lot less on these pages because I wean them off of those questions because they don't need that kind of help. But it's my way of training them because I realized even though I get them in 11th grade, they really just don't have that skill. Another thing that I've done, put maps in here. I need a better system. This took me forever to make, but a map that they can label in color. I also have TrueFalse in here. I've got sections where it will say, like it'll have this italicized section. In the middle it says small group collaboration. And that also, oops, Here we go. That also shows up on my PowerPoint as well. So when we get to those moments in lecture, there's like pairs discussion or small group collaboration, and that happens about every 10 to 15 minutes. And so it's a time for them to join together. And once again, there's a spot on here where they can actually record what they're thinking and their thoughts and be able to share. So it's kind of a built-in, what is it, think, pair, share? It's kind of built in into that. On this page, I actually have an excerpt from a textbook. And so they are still getting the textbook readings, but it's not 30 pages a night. It's something that's very focused with some questions that actually guide them through to make sure they understand. And in that one, it's not just the who was Cortez, that's about Cortez, but I asked them, okay, highlight the places where you see bias. How are the historians that wrote this biased? Following that, I've also built in primary sources. So they have primary sources right here in their book, so we can be taking notes in class, and I can say, okay, now turn to this page. Look at this primary source. What did Cortez actually say? Now flip back, let's compare it to what the textbook said, and it's all right there in one place. I love this. My students love it. I've seen a huge increase in their scores and their ability to perform well on tests, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that when I used to hand out packets or things like that, or hand out sources, what I noticed is their backpacks, they just stuff them all together. There was no organizational system. And I reminded them one day, I said, okay, history is chronological. You kind of need to put this stuff in order. You need to understand the cause and effect. And so having this built in has been phenomenal. It's also been amazing for my Learning Center students or Learning Lab or whatever you call it, the students with the IEPs, because I have several who have focus issues. So smart, but they have focus issues, and they'll kind of zone out or they'll get distracted. And with this, we don't have to stop class and back up. They know exactly what they missed because they can see, oh, okay, she's on that question, and by the way, I don't teach in question answer format, but they can say, you know, she's talking about William Penn, and right above that was a question about mercantilism, so I probably missed that. And they can go back later, either talk to me, or I put actual videos of the content for class online, so they can go back to that video and find exactly the information that they need. It's been a huge help all the way around. So this right here is my magnum opus. Wanted to share because I'm just in love with it. So like I said, I can show an up close, or actually maybe what I can do is if you're interested in that, shoot me an email and I can show you just a few sample pages. I'm happy to share those and send those to you. That's probably the easiest way to go. But yeah, I just had to share. So excited for school to start. I hope you are too. Have a great first week.